everybody, my name is Sherry. Welcome to my stamp studio. I am going to finish the last card in the series for the Wildly Flowering paper. If you haven't been following me recently, you might not know that I'm doing, I needed to come up with a better word because I'm doing a series on the designer series paper, and I don't like having the word series so many times in a sentence. So my goal is to get through all of the papers that are in this catalog and do 3 cards with each. For most of them, I will do 2 alternate stamp sets and then 1 with the bundle stamp set. I don't have all of them yet, so there's a couple that I'm missing. We'll see. On those, I may do 3 alternates, or I may just break down and buy the stamp set that goes as part of the suite. So today I'm going to finish up Wildly Flowering. I want to remind you as we head into this holiday weekend, I'm not sure that I'll have another video. We have things planned every day of Memorial Day weekend, and I need to take my Friday, at least half of it, to get ready for all the things that we have over this holiday weekend. So I hope you're able to enjoy some time, but I wanted to remind you that there are some specials that will end in May. The main one, which is if you join my team, right now, if you get a starter kit, Stampin' Up's giving you a ton of free in-color products. So go to my website, check that out. And then I have just a couple packets left, and I'm going to hold them through this weekend of my Try It class. That's a $75 value, and I'm giving that to the new members of my team. Actually, today's Thursday, and tonight I Zoom with all of my team members from across the United States because they got a free packet as well. And we do 4 of the 10 projects together via Zoom. So we do that every time a new catalog comes out. One of the perks of being on my team. The other is all of my online classes, all of my card club, any video that I have that is part of a class, a paid class, my team members get all the videos for free. And then for the Try It, they get the product as well. So for today, like I said, I'm going to finish the Wildly Flowering series. But as I was really busy, it said that. So I had friends over. We get together once a month, and for this year we've decided that when we get together and stamp together that we are going to be using these templates. So we did the first one, so you may have caught that in April. So this is May. We've moved on to the second. So here's this little template right here. It's the second one. If you have your catalog, you can pull it out. You can see it a little bit better. It's right there. So it was our day to get together to do our shoebox swaps with that template. And I also needed to make the card to finish the series. So I did a 2-for-1. So you're going to see some template cards. You're going to see the Wildly Flowering with the template card. And then it will also complete the series of cards. So let me show you this. You can see it's got a big panel and then a punch or a sentiment or a rectangle and some ribbon tied around it on this one. So here is this one. It's with the moon set. I do not know what it's called because I don't have that stamp set. Super fun little card. I did not do the way that Tanya designed it because, sometimes when you get together with your friends and you're stamping and you're talking, you talk and then you realize you stuck something together wrong. So she actually had the smaller panel on underneath this one, and then she had put the whole card through the folder. I wasn't paying attention. Like I said, I was talking. And then here is this one. So you can see a big square. This one should be a little bit smaller. It should be more this size, but mine's stuck on the inside. A focal point, the ribbon, and then we added the sentiment. So there's the plain one. And then this is my friend Susan's. So again, this is pretty much the basic. That is the template right here without any modifications. So a rectangle and then a sentiment ribbon. And then this was my daughter's. So it's the same card if you go this way, but her hammerhead shark didn't fit. So she flipped it, but you can do that with a template. That's what I did last month. I kind of turned it to make the stamps fit. So you're going to see mine with the Wildly Flowering in just a minute. And then the first 2 cards that I did with the paper. So I didn't mark that. Oh, there's that one, Under the Moon. That was the first one I did. Oh, and here's the Friendly Fins. We did that one. And then you've seen me use the airplane a couple of times. So let's find Wildly Flowering. I love that all the sweets are here together. That is my very favorite feature of this catalog as a work thing, because I turn to the sweets all the time and they're always right there in the same spot, not flipping through all the catalog trying to find them. So on this particular card, I have used this paper on everything, and I've used the embellishments. I used a different folder. I didn't use the folder that is part, no, I didn't use the folder as part of this suite. I think, I never did. Not on these cards. It's really pretty paper. So this is the first one that I did. I used the in color twine. These are the embellishments that are part of it. And then here, again, there's three. You can see there's three size hexagons. And this is the one we're going to use today. This is the one I've used on this one, and then this one right here is a combination of those two. So the dies are fabulous. These are not the stamp sets, so I'm going to show you the stamp set, and we're going to use it on today's card. So we're going to use the blue sheet of paper this time. I'm using, I think this might be crochet. It's a new frame as well. It's not this one, but I liked it with this card. And then here is the stamp set, Wildflower Designs. I'm going to use this tiny little stamp here. I was going to use that, but it kind of fought with the crochet background. And then we're going to use a sentiment. So the card goes together really quickly. I have my sheet here that has Misty Moonlight, Boho Blue, the mauve. It's got the in color, so it has the Wild Wheat, Boho Blue, mauve. I can't remember which the other ones are from. These are the ones that have one more year left. So I went with Misty Moonlight for my paper. It's the Boho Blue that's the in color, but this looks really good with it. So I have a card base, and then I'm going to run this through the crochet. It's just a false front. It makes it easier. I think it makes your card a little bit sturdier, a little bit nicer if you don't try to put half this through a folder. So let's run this through. We did have a conversation yesterday when we were making the cards, because not everybody that I'm friends with that's a demonstrator stamps all the time, because I have friends who just do it for a hobby. My daughter mostly does it for a hobby. So when you're back and forth on using your supplies, and you may take a couple week break and then you come back, and apparently a lot of people find it difficult to remember which plate works for which embossing folder. So they had a tip: just take a Sharpie. On this one, you would write gray plate. Just write it on here, and then you don't have to worry about it. You could write it on the back if you don't want to see it, but then you don't have to think about it every time and test things and see which one works. Just write it on there. Eventually it will wear off, and if you want to take it off, then just use an alcohol wipe or something and it'll come off. So you can see this one's really pretty. It's it's not an in-your-face pattern in the back. It's more subtle, but I really like it. And then we are going to stamp. I have a tiny little piece of white, because you don't need much. And then I picked the tiny little flower. Actually, I think there's one that's even smaller. Sometimes it's nice to have the little miniature stuff, hey? So we have stamped this. And then I already cut this out because it was for my trade. So this is with the deckled rectangle, and this is just the flip side of that paper. So I'm gonna use one of the sentiments out of there. And it doesn't matter if it's upside down or right side up, because we'll just turn it the right direction. So pop this on here. It says, "You've been on my mind." And then we'll add that. And then we are going to cut this out. Let's put that up before I touch it. Cut this out. And this is the largest one. I haven't used this one yet. And it will just take one pass. Because I was cutting so many of them, I kind of cut around so I didn't waste paper. Let me trim this out. You can take the hexagons and you can layer all three of them, all three dies. So they're designed, the larger two, that you get this piece here and then you have this piece. So you can see you can flip it over. So when you put them together, you can put it together so it matches. This does not match. That goes like that. So you could mismatch it a little bit. It makes it a little bit more obvious. Or you can flip it this way and have it be that design. It's still over. I rolled off the end of my plate. And we're going to color these in real quick. And real quick is for sure because there's not much to color, but they're so cute and they just add just a little pop of something fun. On here I'm going to use Mossy Meadow and Moody Mauve. And I'm going to use my Wink of Stella. Now when you're coloring something, especially tiny like this, and you're using a Wink of Stella, I try not to go over all of the stamped parts of it, because if you put too much Wink of Stella, it kind of covers up your image and you want it to be nice and crisp. So just kind of fill that in. And then because I'm going to a darker color, I'm not going to clean this off because the moss will cover it up. Let's start on one of the big leaves. So that little part that's a little bit darker, it can fade away and be a lighter green. I think this is probably easier to do, to color it in before you trim it out. I didn't want to wait for my Wink of Stella to dry, and if you put it in immediately following, which I would because I'm just sitting here right next to my stuff, sometimes it'll stick to the plate and it takes all your sparkle away. So that's all we need. Super cute, super easy. Now let's just stick all this together. So we have our card front here. And then I'm going to use my fine tip glue. And remember, we're doing the template and it had a rectangle in the middle. And so instead of a rectangle, I just changed the shape because this is the shape the die is. It's pretty much the same dimensions. I do have a sheet that has all the dimensions for the templates. If you're in my card club or if you're one of my customers, then I'm happy to email it to you. I don't want to email it to everybody in the world. You can probably find it someplace else online, but I do. It tells you the dimensions for the measurements for all of the templates. So let's pop this on here, and I'm going to use it, the direction of the flowers, because I love this paper and I want to see as much of it as I can. And then we're going to take this, and we remember the template has some ribbon on it. So to do this ribbon, I'm going to add a little bit. See, this one's pretty too. It's just the front is so beautiful. And then I have the twine. And to do this twine this way, I'm going to hold it, the string here, because I want to have something to tie. And then I'm going to wrap this. And because I use the Steel Plus, it will grab it back there. So I'm going to wrap it 4 times. I want these on the front to be kind of nice and flat. And then on the 4th time around, I'm going to stop. So I'm going to hold this together and then just smash that into my seal. And you want it to hold it back there a little bit. They're a tiny bit crooked, but I can fix those before I mount it on. There we go. But they're nice and flat. And the Seal Plus is holding those in place just long enough. You don't want to press it onto your table, especially if you have scrap paper down there, because the Seal Plus would stick to that. Cut that there. So we left this when we started, wrapped 4 times around, and then on the 5th pass, we didn't go all the way around. We just left another long thing so we have something to tie. And again, I'm going to try not to touch it to my table. I don't want it to stick to the table. And this is better to do. You could put it on a glass mat if you are using that. So tie that, and then I'm going to tie a bow. There you go. And then on this, I wanted to use dimensionals to kind of pop it out of the frame, since I use the same pattern. If you're flipping it the other way, then you don't necessarily need to use dimensionals, but I am for this. Just pop these in here. I'm gonna make sure I get one towards where I have the ribbon. In fact, I'll do 2 there. That'll help hold it just in case. Pop this on here. perfect. And then you have your saying. So for, you know, in the template, it goes right across the middle. So I debated, do I want to cover up all the ribbon that I just made look beautiful? I decided not to do that. And then I wanted as many flowers to show as I could. So we're going to lose this mauve one altogether, which is what I based this off of. But there's a little bit of mauve up there. My other one had some mauve down here. So feel free to kind of mess around with it. I think I'm going to go up there, and I am going to use another dimensional. So the part that's laying on that won't look like it's mismatched. So you need to make sure you put this on the top or the bottom. If to get your flowers to show the best way, you moved this to the bottom. And that way we can lay it over a little bit of that. And then this has the ribbon to do it. And then the same thing with this. Like probably right here is where I'd put it. But again, I'm going to lose those flowers. So you can do it upright. You can do it. If I do it here, this way, I'm still going to have that mauve. So let's do that. Just like that. I didn't lose too much more of my ribbon. Sometimes we put a lot of fun things on our cards, and then we stick them all together and half the fun things get covered up. So just be intentional about where you're putting your things, and then you can have as much of your paper and your special effects show. So lie this on here. And then the industrial, no, they're not industrial trinkets, whatever they're called that come in the textured metallic, I don't remember what they're called. Those would look beautiful with this because they're designed to go with the paper, and it has that kind of same look. But these are the opaque in color sparkle dots, and they're fabulous, and they match this paper well. So again, it's I can use this mauve, and it'll help pull out the mauve that's in the paper. See, if I put one right here or up here, it's gonna be like, oh yeah, there's mauve in the paper. And then there's some boho blue. And then my favorite one is the pebbled path, which you can see that in the right over here. So there's 3, but I want more than that. There's also wild wheat. There's a little bit in my paper. I'm going to use a wild wheat because they're pretty too. So I'm going to put 5 on here. So the color I'm going to do twice is going to be the mauve. Again, I want it to be obvious that there's mauve in the paper and that my flowers are mauve, and that'll just kind of help them pop. And super easy. Here's my other one. So the placement's a little bit different. Because I wanted this to show, and if I flipped it all that way, I was going to cover up all my flowers. So this one has one giant flower, and you see if you take that away, then it just has flower bits. So I needed to make sure that my big flower, the focal flower, was on here. This one has a few more flowers in the paper. Anytime you cut paper down like that, it's kind of, let's see what we come up with. So let's go back, and here are the other cards in this series. So I used Wink of Stella on all of them. This one's just straight up stamping. That's the embellishments with the series. This one I also used, it looks like I used Moody Mauve and Moss, which are the colors in the paper. So there are the ones that go with the paper. And then let's take a look again at the template. So here's the template, but then for the shark to fit, it goes that way. And then here's straight up template from the catalog. Couldn't be any more. So this is the exact measurements that are in the catalog. I think all of these are. I think all the girls used the measurements. And then because I used the die, it's about the same thing if you take the points off. So if you're interested in any of my online classes, in my online card club, in joining my team, head to my website, make sure you're on my email list, and everybody have a great Memorial Day. Bye.